On a serene morning at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, in Pasadena, California, a group of experienced researchers who are scanning deep space transmissions picked up something entirely unusual, an irregular, weak pulse that didn't fit the documented signal patterns of Voyager 2. The 1977 launched spacecraft, now over 12 billion miles away from Earth, had been one of humanity's farthest messengers for many years, sending scientific information back home in good faith as it journeyed through the unfathomable blackness of interstellar space. For decades, it had provided nothing uncharacteristic, only steady telemetry, background radiation levels, and periodic reports on its well-being. Until today. Hidden deep within its most recent data dump was something uncharacteristic, something anomalous. To the naked eye, at first, it looked subtle, something easily overlooked. But to trained ears, to those who listened to its vibrations, it rang out like the sound of a whisper in a silent cathedral. The pulse was rhythmically irregular, patterned in a manner that did not correlate with known background effects or technical glitch. It wasn't the cacophonous mess of a failure, nor the cosmic static's unpatterned randomness. It was intentional. Voyager 2 is the twin sister of Voyager 1, both members of NASA's ambitious Voyager program initiated in the golden years of space travel. When it finished flying by the gas giants, Voyager 2 left the heliosphere, the bubble of magnetic fields and particles that encompasses our solar system, and entered interstellar space in 2018. Ever since, its signals have been weak, sometimes hours late, and restricted by its dwindling power supplies. Each bit of data from it is treasured, squeezed through decades-old equipment still somehow working in the cold, dark expanse. Naturally, the initial assumption was that this odd signal was some kind of system glitch. After all, Voyager 2 was built with 1970s technology, its memory capacity is a mere 68 kilobytes, and it transmits at a rate of just 160 bits per second. But despite its age, it was a marvel of redundancy and resilience. Engineers were looking at the possibility of a system echo, a garbled feedback loop from one of its old subsystems. JPL teams pored over the logs, searched through diagnostic data, and performed simulations. But it wasn't a one-time thing. The cycle repeated. And it repeated again, looped in odd, tightly structured intervals. What started as suspicion grew into intense curiosity. The signal was divided across thin frequency bands, each with exact spacing, creating what could only be termed a sort of spectral vocabulary. Syntax. Form. Rhythm. It tasted like a message, just not one Voyager had been designed to transmit. That's when JPL brought in the big guns, SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, and scientists from observatories around the world. Experts in digital signal processing, astrophysicists, and linguists who knew pattern recognition of natural and artificial signals came to analyze the anomaly. As more pairs of eyes examined the data, it was apparent that something historic was happening. The glitch had bits of geometry, harmonic intervals, and sequences that matched prime numbers, mathematical signatures long thought to be possible indicators of intelligence. These were not arbitrary data dumps or telemetry glitches. They were layering, detailed, and appeared to have a depth that no Voyager 2 system could generate on its own. This ship had never been refreshed with AI. Its software was fixed. There had been no external refreshes in decades. This left scientists with two options, both extraordinary in their implications. Either Voyager 2 had somehow, against incredible odds, created a self-organized structure out of its onboard systems, a highly unlikely scenario, or something outside of itself had encountered it, something intelligent. Quietly. Stealthily. And without leaving behind a detectable trail, save for this message. The scientists waited breathlessly. The words first contact were still too freighted, too heavy to speak aloud. But all the people concerned knew what was being risked. Analysts excluded all identified sources of interference, solar wind, magnetic fields, identified pulsars, gravitational lensing. The message wasn't a result of recognized natural phenomena. It carried every mark of intent. And yet, what made the mystery even more profound was where Voyager sat in space. The spacecraft had been wandering through an empty region of interstellar medium. No proximate stars, no significant energetic fields, no anomalies recorded by instruments. The space around it was, by all measurement, empty. Quiet. So how could something communicate with it without being picked up? The solution, as disturbing as it was beautiful, perhaps lies within the contact itself. No explosion of energy. No change in velocity. No modification of its mechanical systems. Simply a modification of what it was sending, minute, calculated, and apparently crafted to be uncovered without compromising the mission of the probe. Such as a message signed in invisible ink, made visible only by the proper lens. Speculation mounted. Was this advanced intelligence's breadcrumb, a subtle reminder to inform us, you are not alone? Was it the response to the golden record, the phonograph record attached to the side of Voyager 2 containing sounds, pictures, music, and math formulas intended to be used as an interstellar greeting? Quite strikingly, the structure that was encoded within the anomalous transmission shared harmonic affinities with elements of the golden record. Not a reproduction, but a rendition, as if one had heard, comprehended, and decided to respond in turn. Refractions of the same frequencies were echoed back, but bent, altered into a new form. Not imitation, but response. This was the most chilling section, perhaps. The message wasn't boisterous. It didn't scream. It whispered. It alluded. It paid homage to the language of Voyager 2 and replied in one that only attentive listeners could decipher. That in itself was revealing. The decoding process intensified. Some researchers found what seemed to be mathematical keys, recursive patterns that suggested sophisticated understanding of numerical theory. Others observed representations of spatial geometry, such as maps or coded instructions. Others still suggested more abstract interpretations, that the message itself was a form of art, a cultural signature encoded in form rather than in language. In the meantime, Voyager 2 itself just kept going, oblivious of the worldwide commotion its signal had triggered. Its systems were functioning. No internal errors were discovered. No power or flight path deviations. The transmission had passed through and was gone, taking a little over 6 minutes, before the signal reverted to normal diagnostic data. A whisper behind a curtain. Was it a test? A probe of our ability to listen? Or perhaps a farewell? One theory speculated that an intelligent force had been monitoring Voyager for years, waiting for the right moment to make itself known. Perhaps it had watched us evolve, waiting for us to develop the capacity to recognize its whisper among the noise. Another theory was more chilling, that Voyager hadn't stumbled upon something, but had been deliberately found. Tracked. Intercepted. That our message had reached ears far more advanced and deliberate than we dared imagine. Fracas erupted over what the implications might be. Some insisted on an immediate follow-up attempts to dispatch a reply, perhaps via the deep space network or by injecting new signals into current satellite transmissions. Others cautioned prudence. If we had been brushed by something overwhelmingly more old-fashioned or superior, would responding even be intelligent? Among the corridors of academia and policy, the ancient debate about METI, messaging to extraterrestrial intelligence, was revived with renewed vigor. Do we deliberately send out into the universe, now that we know it's possible that something can hear us? Or do we keep quiet, our fleeting signal already having said too much? But amidst all the uncertainty, there was one truth that held firm: if this aberration were indeed a message, it dispelled the myth of isolationism humanity had believed in for centuries. We are not alone. And most importantly, we had been heard. To date, Voyager 2 still travels through the interstellar medium, silent, obedient, and unchanged. But its perception has changed forever. It is no longer merely a remnant of exploration of the past, it is perhaps the first instrument of interstellar communication. A floating ambassador that speaks once, then gets a reply. The message didn't necessarily come in an expected form. There were no ships, no spectacular landings, no interstellar transmissions in human language. Rather, there was subtlety. Patience. A signal not designed to herald but to watch, to test, perhaps to wait. And perhaps that was the idea. In a universe full of noise, a silent message screams the loudest. If you enjoyed this revelation as much as we did, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a post about Voyager, NASA, or space oddities. Thoughts on Voyager 2's weird signal? Leave a comment below. What do you reckon the message was? Is this the start of something greater? Let us know, because the universe might be watching us back.